Happy Easter, everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make one of our DIY gnome kits. So this is what your kit should look like, and everything you need is going to be in it besides a pair of scissors. So I'm going to start by laying everything out. So we're going to have our stuffing, which is going to go inside of our gnome. We're going to have our beard. So this kit, we have a pink beard, but sometimes it'll be white, sometimes it'll be a dark pink, depending on what you guys picked. We're going to have our glue gun. We're gonna have our glue sticks, string, and decoration, as well as our little bunny tail. We're gonna have our rice, as well as our decorative sock, our main sock, the trim to go around the hat, and our super cute bunny ears. Now, we don't need the basket to make our gnome, but this is something you guys can keep and use it on Easter Day. All right, so first step is we're gonna plug in that glue gun. I already have mine here, so I'm gonna put this one aside. But you'll just open up the package, plug in the glue gun. Your glue sticks will be in this little package here. You can take them out and insert them. Alrighty, now that our glue gun is all warmed up, I do wanna remind you guys to be very careful because the hot glue will get very hot and it can burn you. So please do this with a parent, and parents, watch your kids when they're using the glue gun because it can get dangerous, okay? Alrighty, so our first step is we're going to take our plain white sock, not our decorative sock, our plain white sock. And we're gonna push everything else to the side because we don't quite need it right now. All we're gonna keep is the rice and sock. So what I want you guys to do, find a glass. Any type of glass, can be a solo cup, can be plastic, can be a cup like this, doesn't matter. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour all of the rice into our cup. We're gonna put our sock on top of it, and then we're gonna dump it. This is a super easy way to get all of that rice into the sock. So we're gonna open it up, be careful not to spill any. So mine doesn't fit all of it in the cup, so I'm just gonna do a few at a time. So I'm gonna take my sock on top and flip. And then I'm gonna squish all that rice down, just doing this. Now that does look a little bit weird, but it's okay because now we have all this extra room to put the rest of the rice in. So I'm gonna repeat that again. And now that we're done with this plastic bag, we can put it aside. We're gonna take our sock again. We're gonna take the top, flip it over. Now we have all of our rice inside of our sock. So now you can start shaping it into a nice, kind of like an oval shape, nice and tall. And this is what we're gonna use for our gnome body. So now you're gonna take this little bag that has either your carrot or your little chick in it. It's also gonna have some string and elastics, and we're gonna use this stuff to start making our gnome body. So we can open up our bag and dump everything out, being very careful we don't lose anything. Whoop. So it has our little tail in there too. All right, so what you can do is you can take your tail as well as either your carrot or your little chick, and we're gonna put them to side because we don't need them right now. So in the kit, you're gonna find 4 elastics. The color doesn't matter. We only need 2 to make our gnome right now, so I'm just gonna put 2 aside. So now that you have 2 elastics, your body, as well as 2 strings, we're gonna begin assembling our gnome. So first thing to do is you're gonna build it up however you like the shape of it. You're gonna take the top, so the rice for me is coming up to here, anyway, so I'm gonna pinch it, and I'm gonna squish it down as much as I can. I can use it on the table until I get a shape that I like. And I think this is nice. I might want it a little bit taller, a little bit like slimmer. And I'm gonna tie my elastic right at the top there, nice and tight. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we have it nice and tight there. No rice is gonna come out the top. And that's how we have the shape of our nice little gnome body. So what you're gonna do now is you're gonna take your scissors and you're gonna just leave a little bit at the top. It doesn't really matter because it's gonna be covered by the hat in the end. But you're just wanting to cut any excess off because we don't really need this. So there we go, just enough so that the elastic still stays tight around. And now we don't need this for anything else in the kit, so you guys can put it aside. So now that we have our gnome, we're gonna take our second elastic and we're gonna start to make the nose for it. So when you're making your nose, it is a little bit tricky and it's just gonna depend how you like it. I like to take 2 fingers from the very top like this, and this is around the area I want my nose to be because I don't want it too high up because then I don't have any room for my hat. So I want just about 2 fingers, right around there looks good to me. So I'm gonna take it, all I'm doing right now is I'm taking it, I'm grabbing a bunch of rice, I'm pinching it. See, I have the rice now. I'm pinching it and then I'm pinching again until I have a little circle there. This is gonna take a while or a few times to practice, but that's okay because you have all the time in the world. And now you're just gonna take your elastic and wrap it around. That's a bit of a funny nose, so now we're gonna play around with it. Usually just by playing around with the gnome, playing around with the nose, now you've got it. So now that I have my gnome, I'm gonna use my pieces of string. We're using these in case any hot glue gets on the elastic, because if the elastic gets too hot, it might snap. So if the elastic snaps, we have string to make sure everything stays together and we don't lose our nose. So what I like to do is I like to go on the bottom, up to the top, and I'm gonna double knot it. So I'm gonna do once and twice. There, so now I have 2 ties. And you can just snip the excess off because we don't need it. And so now we're all done with this. This can go in the garbage. We don't need it anymore. And we're gonna use our other string for the top. So just around right there, you're gonna tie it once and twice, nice and tight, like as tight as you can go. There we go. So now we have our gnome, and even if we throw it around, even if it's upside down, we still have our gnome body, and it's gonna stay nice and tight. And there we have it. So now we're gonna start decorating it and making it super cute like this guy over here. So now what I want you to grab is your sock, your nice pretty sock. And I want you to grab your fluff, your stuffing. And I want you to grab one more elastic. You're gonna notice there's one elastic left over, and that's just an extra one in case any of yours snap. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at my sock and I'm gonna look at my gnome. Half of the sock is for the body and half of it is for the top, like the hat. So you have your opening here. This isn't gonna be the hat, this is gonna be the body. This is the part that's gonna go over top of your gnome and make the body. So what I like to do is put my sock on top like this. My lines are a little bit crooked right now, so I'm just gonna play around with the sock until it looks how I would like it. See, now the lines look nice and straight on my gnome. I have the little top of it. Everything looks good to me. So what I'm gonna do now is I see where the nose is. I'm gonna cut just about halfway on the nose. So I can feel that my nose is right here in between these fingers. So I'm gonna take my pair of scissors now and I'm gonna cut right in between. So take it, pinch it, and just do a little cut, and be very careful not to snip your fingers with this. So anyway, so now I just have a little hole here for my nose. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take my scissors, I'm going to put it inside, and I'm just gonna start snipping. I'm gonna follow this purple line for me, but it doesn't matter, you basically just need it around your gnome. I'm gonna start snipping all the way around my gnome. Ta-da! So now we have its, I call it its little pajamas. You have your gnome's little pajamas on it, and that's what's gonna make our body. So I do have quite a bit of excess there, and it's better to have too much than too little. So now I'm just gonna trim around until it's just a bit under its nose. Perfect. So I just cut like this little bit off so that it comes right under the nose, and so this stuff will be able to pull up. So this is where we're gonna start using our hot glue. So again, be very, very careful with this part. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your hot glue, you're gonna pull your sock down all around. So pull it down as much as you can. Well, not as much as you can, but just a bit. And you're basically gonna put glue all around the gnome so that when the sock comes back up, it's gonna stay glued instead of falling down. So I'm gonna take my glue and I'm gonna start by placing it right there. And now I'm gonna take my sock and I'm gonna pull up on it and press down where the glue is. Be very careful because sometimes the glue will come through the sock and it can burn you. So just be careful with this part. There, so now you see this part is glued and it's not gonna come down compared to this part that will move. So now same thing here, I'm gonna put glue right around there. And I'm going to take my sock and lift it up nice and high. And just hold it so let the glue have some time to dry. So now the front's basically done. We're just gonna put a strip of glue right here around the back. And pull up. Cut the excess, or you can glue it. This side is a lot higher than this one, so I'm going to take this excess here and I'm going to glue it up a little bit higher. There you go. But there's all this excess in the back and we really don't need that, so I'm just going to take my scissors and trim it. Ta-da. And then all this excess, you can gather it up and then put it in the garbage because we don't need it anymore. But there you go. So now we have our little gnome and it has its cute little body on it. Lovely. So now we're going to start working with the hat. So this is where you would normally put your little toes when you're wearing a sock, and this is the heel. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a pom-pom out of this toe part. So now you're going to take your stuffing and take it all out of the bag. And you're going to take a small handful, just fit in the palm of your hand about like that, and you're going to take it and you're going to shove it right into the top of the sock. So I'm going to put this guy aside right now because we don't need him, but I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it in the very top of the sock there. I'm going to push it to the top, and then with my other hand, I'm going to wrap around it and start forming like a pom-pom shaped at the top, just like that, nice and circular. So now you're going to take that elastic and you're going to wrap it around. I would say, ooh, everything's falling. There we go. I would say wrap it like twice around because you're going to have to play around with it a little bit. And if it's too tight, it's going to be a bit tough. So I have my pom-pom, but as you can see, it's sloping this way a lot. It's very tilted, so I'm just going to pull on it a little bit. And you just adjust it to however you like it. So what I'm doing right now is I have this pink line. I'm trying to make it equal parts white before it gets cut off, because here there's a lot, so it's pink, a lot of white, and then the pom-pom. Here it's pink, a little bit of white, and then the pom-pom. So I'm just playing around with it so that it's centered. So that's just by pulling on it and taking some of it out of here. So for now, that looks good to me. So I'm going to take a little bit more of the stuffing and I'm going to put it inside of the hat. Just a little bit for now. I have a ton left over and that's okay. And now I'm going to take my gnome and I'm going to place the hat right on top. You can even cover the nose if you'd like. He looks funny. So I'm going to uncover the nose just because I want to play around with it a little bit to see how I'm going to like the hat. I think I've stuffed mine enough. I like how much stuffing is here. I like the shape of it. To me, it looks good, so I'm not going to put any more. If you want it a lot more stuffed, go ahead. That's why you have the extra stuffing. So what we're going to do now is I have all this extra here, and we don't really need that. So I'm going to pull it over the nose just a little bit, and then I'm gonna follow this pink line, and I'm just going to cut right around it because we don't quite need that much. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just going to cut up. I just did an incision there, and then I'm just gonna snip around the hat. Don't cut too much because we will need it for later. There. And depending on how you cut your body, you might not even need to cut any off because it will be nice. Like it'll just fit perfectly. Mine had a lot of excess. I basically cut the heel off and then any extra. So there we have it. He's super cute. So right now we don't need the hat quite yet. We're going to take it and we're going to put it to side. We know the hat's how we like it, so we don't need to worry about it anymore. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my beard. So I had this nice little pink beard for this guy. So what I'm going to do here, and this part is a little bit tricky and you have to be very slow and very careful with it, is I need to cut a little hole here with scissors so that it can fit up in the nose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pair of scissors. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut like a little half circle right here, just about in the middle of it to put where my nose is going to go. The trick is you only want to use the very, very tip of your scissors, because if you start going and cut it like this, you're going to cut all the hair. I'll try and show you guys what I'm doing. It's a little bit tricky on camera, but I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to Do little baby snips just on the backing of it. In a half circle shape. So all I've done is that part right there. I just took my scissors, because notice here, the hair's not cut, right? Because if the hair was laying like this and I cut through it, this whole chunk of hair would come off, but it's not. So you're just taking the tip of your scissors and just trying to cut the back. If you cut some hairs, that's totally fine, right? So now this is gonna come off. And I did cut some hair, so all I'm gonna do is pull. And see, a couple came off, and that's fine. We don't need it, we can just put it aside. But now you'll wanna play around with your beard to make it nice and flat again. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our gnome and we're gonna take our beard and we're going to glue it. So it's gonna be glued on just like this. So I'm gonna take my glue gun. I'm gonna put glue just around that circle. So here, there, and around. Just like that, just along the top. And then I'm going to take it, make sure my fingers aren't grabbing where the glue is. And I'm gonna glue it up and around the nose and push it down. I have some little extra hairs here that I cut that I'm just trying to fix up. Super, so now the beard's on our gnome. And I'm going to take glue and I'm going to glue it just around the edges so that it stays nice and flat. And just put some glue on the gnome. Doesn't really matter where, as long as it's under the beard. And so now that part is gonna be glued down. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side, lift it up. And glue it down. So now, there you go. Now our little gnome has a beard. Super cute. So now all he's missing is his hat, his bunny ears, and then his trim to go around. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my hat and I'm gonna put it back on top of my gnome. You just play around with it until it's where you like it. So what you're gonna wanna do, because at the end we're gonna cut a little bit of this excess off. Do you see how it's bending upwards? Like here you can see it quite well that this part here is kind of curving, same thing right there. So that's fine because that's what we're gonna cut off afterwards if there's any to cut off. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna glue right on top of the nose. You're gonna wanna do it as far back on the nose as possible. You're just gonna put a little dot of glue and then bend the hat on top. So for me, this part isn't actually glued down, but this part over here is. And then you're just gonna kind of curve your head up a little bit, and you're just gonna put a strip of glue all the way around the gnome. So all I'm doing is I'm putting it here, as close to where the hat like curves in as possible. So it's right on that blue line if you can see it. And then I'm just gonna carefully bend it back down and tap it so that it dries. And then I'm gonna do that all the way around my gnome. And just glue it down. He's looking super cute. All right, next step that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold this part up and I'm gonna put a dab of glue here and a dab of glue there so that it stays nice and on the nose. One right there, just a little one. And one right there, just a little one. There we go. So while we let that dry, we're gonna put our gnome aside and we're gonna make our bunny ears. So we have our white and we have our pink. Our white ones are a lot bigger and our pink ones are a lot smaller, so our pink ones are gonna go inside of our white ones. But what we're gonna do to start is we're gonna take our scissors and we're gonna cut this in half. So right in that space of white there, just cut it right in half so that we have our two templates for our bunny ears. Just like that. So what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna cut around the black while cutting as much black off as possible. So I like to start at the tip. So you're just gonna take your scissors and cut right around the black. I cut off as much black as possible. So here should be white, but the black should be on this part here that we don't need. Ta-da! And now you're gonna do the same thing with the other one. There you go, so now you have your 2 bunny ears. So all this excess that you cut off, you can put it in the garbage because we don't need it. And now we're gonna do the same thing with the pink ones, cut in the middle and then cut them out. So now I can see that there's still some black left on my pink one, and there's still a little bit of black around my white one, but that's okay because that's not the part that's gonna be showing on our gnome, right? We don't wanna make it like this because now you see all that black. What we're gonna do is this is the side with black on it, and so is this one. We're gonna flip it around. So the part that has a little bit of black on it, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna put that on the ground, right here. So here on this side, there shouldn't be any black, but this side there is a little bit. We don't want that, so we want the side with no black. And then same thing with this one, we see the black, we're gonna flip it, and this is the side we wanna see. So what we're gonna do here, so now that the black is facing me on both sides and the nice areas are facing the camera, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this white one, I'm going to lay it down, and I'm going to take the pink, and I'm going to put it right on top as close to the middle as I can. So you just want to center it. So it's gonna look like that. So your white one's gonna be on the ground, or on your table. All you're gonna do is you're gonna put 1 strip of glue down the pink and glue it right on top of the white. And again, be careful, the hot glue is hot, and do your best not to burn yourself. And right in the middle. Just like that, so now you have one of your bunny ears. And you're gonna do the exact same thing with the other one. There you go, so now you have your 2 super cute little bunny ears. So now we're gonna take our gnome. So now everything's dried. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take our scissors and we're gonna take this excess part that's not glued down and we're just gonna cut right around it because we don't need it. So just be careful not to cut the beard, not to cut the body, and not to cut the part that's glued. So I'm just pulling so I can see, I'm pulling on it so I can see what part isn't glued down, and I'm just cutting around there. There, and this part is garbage, we don't need it. All right, so now we're gonna glue on our little bunny ears. So we're gonna glue them wherever you want, really. If you wanna put them up there, you can put them up there, but I like to put them right here as close to the edge of the hat as possible, because then once they're glued, it's not gonna wanna stay on. But once it's glued, this trim is gonna go right around, and it's gonna look like they're tucked in there very nicely, so you won't see the end of it. So I'm gonna take a little bit of glue and I'm gonna put it right on the edge here. I'm gonna pick my spot, and then I'm just gonna hold it there. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. I'm gonna glue it right out there. Super cute. All right, so when you were doing your kit, whoever bought it decided the colors. So for example, this person wanted a pink beard and pink trim to go around. So as you can see, the color is pink, but on the edge, you see blue. So this is what's gonna go in the back of it, so you're not gonna see it, but what you're gonna see at the front is the pink. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take both ends of it, and you're gonna place it right about in the middle and then bring it all the way around. Right, so you're gonna see the blue in the back, but in the front you're gonna see the pink. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in the back here. I'm gonna find where the middle is. It's right about there. I'm gonna put a drop of glue. And now I'm gonna take the edge, like the very end of my string, and my trim, and I'm just gonna glue it down. Right, so that's where I put my glue, so that's where I'm gonna glue it. And then I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna put it a little bit more around the edge of the hat. Right? So all I'm doing is I'm laying down glue and then I'm gluing it. So I'm trying to run out of glue, so I'm gonna put that other glue stick in. And just right around the edge of the hat, which is all I did there. I put glue right on that yellow there. And now I'm gonna glue it and hold down. And then here, I'm gonna put just right at the very bottom of the ear. So I don't wanna hide too much of the ear with it, just the very bottom of it. Like that. And then you're gonna put it over the nose like this. Just like that. And then again, you're gonna put glue on top of the ear at the very bottom of it. You're gonna hold that down, and then you're gonna do the same thing you did on this side. You're just gonna put glue here and then glue it down. I can show you guys that. It's hard when it's not facing you. It's very hard when it's not facing you. I'm just gonna lay that down there and hold it. All right, and so now that I'm getting to the end, mine happened to have been cut like perfectly, so it's gonna exactly hit the edge like this. If yours is a little bit longer, glue it until it's nice and then just cut the excess with a scissor. All right, there you have it. So my ears feel a little bit floppy, so what I'm gonna do is on the parts of the ears, so not any of this part, but on the parts that are touching the hat, so right there, I'm gonna put a little bit of glue just so that they stay on a little bit better. So right on the edge here. And same thing on this one. Just on the inside edge. There you go. And then you can play around with the beard. All right, so now here's our little bunny tail. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna flip your gnome around. You're gonna see where the middle is because that's where your two pieces should connect. You're just gonna put glue and then you're gonna glue it down right there, super easy. So take it, put glue wherever you would like. And then you're gonna take that part and you're gonna glue it right on its little bum. Just like that, and just hold it, make sure it dries. Then you can play around with the beard until it's how you like it. So now, you guys either picked a carrot or a little chick. So if you have a little chick, you can do whatever you want with it. You can glue it there, or you can just set it there. If you want, you can even glue it to the top, wherever you want. Or you can just take the little chick and have it sitting beside your gnome. And then same thing with the carrot, you can really do whatever you want with it. I like to take the carrot on the side right here and just glue it so that it's on the gnome. So that's what I'm gonna do, but if you want it there, you can glue it there. If you want it up here, you can glue it there. If you want it on its nose, you can glue it there. If you want it to look like it's eating it, you can glue it there, wherever you'd like. But I'm gonna glue mine right there. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put glue all along the side of the carrot. And stick it on. Just like that. And there you go. So if you have any pieces of excess glue, you can just shake those off. Any little bits of beard you don't like. And then I have a bit of fluff on mine too, so I'm just taking it off of the beard. And then I like to take it and just make the beard nice and pointy there. And there you have it. You have your little Easter bunny gnome.